Sit. Everyone sit. Quiet.
What are you doing? What?
No, don't close it. No.
Guys,
Shut up. Shut up.
sit down. We're going to start at the top of page 63. We're going to finish the whole story. I need volunteers for reading. I'm going to start.
I already read it.
Be quiet.
That's fine. I just don't want to read the whole thing because my voice will go out. I have to
Nigga, you
project
know
and
your
read.
dad gonna work your ass.
I'm going to start. You got to be quiet. If I hear any voices, I'll look up. I'm writing your name down. So, where we're at right now is that these boys and a girl have all come down to a ravine, which is basically just a big ditch with hills and a waterfall and a lake. And they're swimming in it. They're climbing around and they're swimming in it. 2 weeks ago, a boy died down there and they never found the body. Now that's just exposition. The story is not about them going to find a dead body or looking for it. The story is about Vinny, the main character, being peer pressured into doing something that he doesn't want to do.
I don't want to do it.
So, he doesn't want to go down to the ravine. His parents told him not to go. His friends are making fun of him. He's scared out of his mind because of this dead kid. And he doesn't want to be there. So that's where I want to put your heads at. That's the conflict of the story. Is Vinny somewhere he doesn't want to be? His friends are pressuring him to be there.
Is that what the story is about?
That's the main conflict of the story, yeah. So, now he didn't know what he believed. The body had to be stuck down there. Still, 4 divers and they couldn't find him. Then he decided he'd better believe in the legend. If he didn't, the goddess might get mad and send him bad luck. Or maybe take him too. Stop, stop, stop. Don't think like that. Come on, Joe Boy said, nudging Vinny from behind. Hurry it up.
What?
Isaiah, move to the back. Or actually, move to that desk over there, that single desk. Do it. Do it. Just then, Starlane whooped, her voice bouncing around the walls of the ravine. Let's go, Joe Boy said. They're there already. Moments later, Vinny jumped up onto a large boulder at the edge of the pond. Starlane was swimming out in the brown water. It wasn't murky brown, but clean and clear to a depth of maybe 3 or 4 feet. Because of the waterfall, you had to yell if you wanted to say something. The whole place smelled of mud and ginger and iron. Starlane swam across to the waterfall on the far side of the pond and ducked under it, then climbed out and edged along the rock wall behind it, moving slowly like a spider. Above sun-sparkling stream water spilled over the lip of a 100-foot drop. There's 2 pieces of figurative language right there. Does anybody know what they are? In paragraph 32, there are 2 different examples of figurative language. What?
You have to skim
I can't hear you. Anna.
like
Moving slowly like a simile.
Yep, Elliot got one of them.
spider.
Yep, that's the one Elliot just said. Yep, like a spider is a simile. How do you know it's a simile?
Because it said like.
Right, comparison using like or as.
Oh, alliteration.
Alliteration is the other one. Where's the alliteration, Elliot?
Sun, sparkling stream.
Sun sparkling.
What?
That's right.
You were next, but no, he's going out. Edwin was next.
It's okay. Everybody gets to go. Not a big deal. Pull out your book. We're on page 63. About to be on page 64.
I'm already 63.
You already read out.
63, yeah. I'll be on 64. We're starting on 64. Isaiah and Kamari. Isaiah, Kamari, you haven't read the story. You don't know anything about the story.
I know there's a character named Vinny.
It's fine. Look, I'm going to treat you guys just like I treat everybody else. If you want to fail and make F's, you can. But I'm not changing grades. Kamari, if you feel like you've read it, you know it, that's fine. I don't think that you've read it. I think that you're kind of fibbing a little bit. You said there was a dead body in the story. There's only a dead body mentioned. They never find a dead body.
No, they find a dead body.
No, they don't.
No. There's a
Okay,
dead person.
Mo and Joe Boy threw their towels onto the rocks and dove into the pond. Vinny watched his. Guys, shut your mouth. Stop doing.
What line are y'all in?
Page 64.
Line 33. Top of the page.
That's how much wood you can get a knife out of. Say.
Mo and Joe Boy threw their towels onto the rocks and dove into the pond. Then he watched. His muddy towel hooked around his neck. Reluctantly, he let it fall and then dove in after them. The cold mountain water tasted tangy. Was it because the boy's body was down there decomposing? He spit it out. He followed Joe Boy and Mo to the waterfall and ducked under it. They climbed up onto the rock ledge just as Starlene had done, then spidered their way over to where you can climb up to a small ledge about 15 feet up. They took their time because the hand footholds were slimy with moss. Why are they taking their time?
Because it was something with moss.
Right, but what does that mean?
Slippery.
Slimy moss being right there makes it
Slippery.
what?
Oh yeah, it's slippery.
Starlene jumped first. Her shriek echoed. Starlene jumped first. Her shriek echoed off the rocky cliff, then died in the dense green jungle. Mo jumped, then Joe Boy, then Vinny. The 15-foot ledge wasn't the problem. It was the one above it, the one you had to work up to, the big one, where you had to take a deadly zigzag trail and then climb up and away from the waterfall.
They were kissing?
Then cut back and forth to a foot-wide ledge, something more than like 50 feet up. That was the problem. That was where the boy had jumped from. Joe Boy and Starlene swam out into the middle of the pond. Mo swam back under the waterfall and climbed once again to the 50-foot ledge. Guys,
Shut it.
come on.
You see how they in the bed? No, it was in the swim. She kissed him.
Vinny started to swim out toward Joe Boy, but stopped when he saw Starlene put her arms around him. She kissed him. They sank under for a long time, then came back up, still kissing.
What?
Then he turned away and swam back over to the other side of the pond, where he first got in. His mother would kill him if she ever heard about where he'd come. After the boy drowned or was taken by the goddess or whatever happened to him,
Goddess.
she said to come to his pond again. She said to never come to this pond again, ever. It was off limits, permanently. But not his dad, he said. You fall off of a horse, you get back on, right? Or else you're going to be scared of it all your life.
So if you fall off a mountain, you get back on it?
No. His
No.
mom stopped and waved him off. Don't listen to him, Vinny. Listen to me. Don't go there. That pond is haunted, which made his dad laugh. But then he promised he'd stay away. Somebody read 48. Kane.
But then Starlene and Joe Boy said, "Come with us anyway. You let your mom run your life or what?" And Vinny said, "Well, what if I get caught?" And Joe Boy said,
So what's happening to Vinny?
Getting peer pressure.
He's getting peer pressured.
Vinny mashed his lips. He's so weak. Couldn't even say no, but if he said, "I can't go, my mother won't like it," they would have left him right off the island. No, he had to go, no choice.
Keep going.
So he'd come along and so far it was fine. He'd even gone in the water. Everyone was happy. All he had to do is now was wait it out and go home and hope his mother never heard about it.
When he looked up, I'll go. When he looked up, Starlene was gone. He glanced around the pond until he spotted her starting up the zigzag trail to the 50-foot ledge. She was moving slowly, hanging onto the roots and branches on the upside of the cliff. He couldn't believe she was going there. He wanted to yell, "Hey, Starlene, that's where he died." But she already knew that. Mojo, shut your mouth. Sit. Kamari, you have to sit down and stay seated.
What did I do?
I just told you what you did. You're up on it.
Did anybody?
Mo jumped from the lower ledge, yelling, "Banzai!" An explosion of coffee-colored water erupted when he hit. Joe Boy swam over to where Starlene had gotten out. He waved to Vinny, grinning like a fool, then followed Starlene up the zigzag trail. Now Starlene was 25, 30 feet up. Vinny watched her for a while, then lost sight of her when she slipped behind a wall of jungle that blocked his view. A few minutes later, she popped back out, now almost at the top where the trail ended, where there was nothing but mud and a few plants to grab onto if you slipped. Plants that would rip right out of the ground. Plants that wouldn't stop you if you fell. Nothing but your screams between you and the rocks below. Vinny's stomach tingled just watching her. What does that mean?
Tingle and you like
I'm like-
you're scared.
I know, but he's scared, right?
He lets her go.
He's feeling nervous, anxious.
I'm drunk.
He couldn't imagine what it
I'm drunk.
He couldn't imagine what it must feel like to be up there, especially if you were afraid of heights like he was.
No.
She has no fear, Vinny thought, no fear at all. Please, 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 Starlene. I don't want to see you die. Starlene crept forward, making her way to the end of the trail where the small ledge was. Joeboy popped out of the jungle behind her. He stopped, waiting for her to jump before going on. Vinny held his breath. Suddenly, in her cut-off jeans and soaked t-shirts, Starlene, in her cut-off jeans and soaked t-shirts, stood perfectly still, her arms at her sides. Vinny suddenly felt like hugging her. Why, he couldn't tell. Starlene, please. Somebody read 62.
Bruh.
Raise your hand. Volunteer, I'm calling on you. Kane already read.
I already read.
Come on.
I haven't read, but I don't feel like reading.
Page 66, paragraph 62, come on.
What? It's cold in here. 62. I'm cold. No, you're not. What do I have to read?
Because somebody has to do it.
You're warm. I need you to read it.
Who
Just
wants
like.
to go to that one?
Is it-
Guys, somebody better read.
I'll go.
Elliot.
I'll go.
62?
Yeah, paragraph 62.
That's it?
On page 66. Yeah, read that until 72.
Alright.
Until that picture.
She reached behind her and took a wide leap from a plant. Then eased down and scooped up a finger of mud. She made a brown cross on her forehead. Then wiped her muddy fingers on her jeans. She read it. Was she thinking about the dead boy? She stuck the steam that released in her mouth, leaving the rest of it to ring out. When she jumped, the leaf would flap up and cover her nose and keep water from rushing into it. An old island trick. She jumped down, almost in slow motion. It seemed at first, then faster and faster. She fell feet first on flapping to keep balance so she wouldn't land on her back or stomach, was probably almost killer. Just before she hit, she crossed her arms over her chest and vanished within a small explosion of rusty water. Vinny stood, not breathing at all, praying. 10 seconds, 20, 30, she came back up laughing.
She shouldn't make fun that way, Vinny thought. It was dangerous, disrespectful. It was asking for it. Vinny looked up when he heard Joeboy shout, "Hey Vinny, watch how a man does it. Look." Joeboy scooped up some mud and drew a stroke of lightning across his chest. When he jumped, he threw himself out, face and body parallel to the pond. His arms and legs spread out. He's crazy, Vinny thought, absolutely insane. At the last second, Joeboy rolled it into a ball and hit. Karoom! What is that? Figurative language.
The water!
Oh yeah.
I said that
He
first.
came up whooping and yelling, "Woo! So good! Come on, Vinny, it's hot." Vinny faked a laugh. He waved, shouting, "Nah, the water's too cold." Shh. Quiet. Now Mo was heading up the zigzag trail. Mo, who hardly ever said a word and would do anything anyone ever challenged him to do. Come on, not you too. Vinny knew then that he would have to jump. Jump or never live it down. Mo jumped in the same way Joeboy had, man style, splayed out in a suicide fall. He came up grinning. Starlene and Joeboy turned toward Vinny. Vinny got up and hiked around the edge of the pond, walking in the muddy shallows, looking at a school of small brown-backed fish near a ginger patch. Maybe they'd forget about him. Starlene torpedoed over, swimming underwater. Her body glittered in the small amount of sunlight that penetrated the trees around the river.
What is that? Hey!
What?
What is that?
It's a screensaver for my computer.
It's a lightsaber.
Vinny got up and hiked around the
MacBook,
edge of
what
the
it be
pond.
like?
Quiet! Starlene torpedoed over, swimming underwater. Her body glittered in the small amount of sunlight that penetrated the trees around the rim of the ravine. When she came up, she broke the surface gracefully, like a swan. Her blonde hair streaked back like